Hey, welcome to the Dave Martin Show, the podcast that I believe, I think it's going to help you a lot. If you'll let me be your success coach this week, I believe we can get some principles that'll really change our life, because I'm going to talk to you about the importance of a principle that I believe is a key to greatness. Have you ever had to deal with change? Have you ever had to deal with something not happening just how you thought or when you thought? That's what we're going to be talking about today on the show. Hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and, really, I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear how this, maybe a takeaway that you get from today's podcast, something that you hear, you say, oh man, that's something that I needed. Put that in there, because one key, someone else will read that key and it'll be like, man, that's exactly what I needed. It doesn't take a lot of keys to start your car. It just takes the right key to start your car. I hope you're having a great week. It's been a pretty nice week here in Detroit. We've had some pretty decent weather, but I'm telling you, you just never know. It could be nice one day and snowing the next day. So wherever you are, I'm glad you joined us today. And I want to talk to you about the key of adaptability and the importance of being adaptable. I believe it's a real cornerstone for achieving greatness. Now, it's one of the chapters in my book, 12 Traits of the Greats. If you don't have the book, I encourage you to grab a copy of 12 Traits of the Greats. I believe it's kind of that classic signature book that will last for years and years, because the principles will never be out of date. I love what John Maxwell said on the cover. He said, if you can only read one book this year, you have it in your hands. So if you don't have it in your hands, I'd make sure you get it. And it's available at davemartin.org, and a lot of other books there as well. But adaptability, it's not merely about responding to change. It's about thriving in the face of it. I mean, as leaders and individuals that are striving for success, the ability to adapt is really, I believe, crucial for fulfilling our God-given purpose. So I want to dive into three aspects kind of today of adaptability. One, we're going to talk about embracing change, how important that is. Now, some people say, I don't like change. Well, it's inevitable, so you might as well learn to embrace it. Then we're going to talk about staying teachable, learning through those times of change, and then relying on the bigger plan. I'm a person of faith. I'm a believer, so I rely on God's plan. We're going to talk about that a little bit as well. So, as I said, I'm talking from this chapter of the 12 Traits of the Greats, and I hope you'll get a copy of that. Abraham Maslow said this. He said, in any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or to step back into safety. Every time you have an opportunity, are you going to step forward into growth? Or are you going to go back where it's safe, where I'm comfortable? The first thing we're going to talk about is how to embrace change with courage and conviction. Like I said, it's going to happen. You can't help it. The world around us is constantly shifting. It's changing. And those who resist change will risk being left behind. If you don't change, you'll become a fossil pretty quick these days. Change comes into our life sometimes unexpectedly. I wasn't expecting that change. Sometimes in really unexpected ways, but then other times it's expected. We knew it was coming. Now, if it is something that we have chosen to change, like maybe we started a new career path, then there's excitement in that and there's anticipation for that change. But when the change comes uninvited, it disrupts our routine. It puts us outside of our comfort zone. And a lot of times we'll resist the change instead of embracing it. Now, just because you embrace it doesn't mean that you're not going to have any difficulties or that it's going to be easy or that there won't be moments of wondering. But true greatness is found in those who not only accept change, but welcome it as an opportunity for growth, an opportunity for innovation. When I think through my life, and I think through my career, I've encountered many instances when changes knocked on my door and demanded my attention. Sometimes when I wanted, sometimes they were welcomed, and sometimes, well, there were times I found myself a bit resistant because I wasn't ready for that change. But as time went on, I realized that change was not my adversary, but change could actually be my ally. And those changes would propel me into greater things that were ahead. I remember one change, resisting it, didn't want to do it. But as I stepped into it, it led me to greater things than I ever could have imagined. And I think the same thing can happen to you when you begin to embrace change. Now, just this whole chapter on adaptability, I'm telling you, if you don't have the book, I'm only going to be able to teach you a little bit of it, but getting in here and getting the whole understanding of it, I believe will really revolutionize the way you deal with it. Developing a mindset that embraces change and a real hunger for growth has allowed me a doorway into new opportunities, new perspectives of looking at things. Listen, I've changed the way I look at things a lot over the years as I've been put into new opportunities or new places. I'm like, well, I never thought of it like that, or I never looked at it like that. It's always an opportunity. Here's what I love about change. It's always an opportunity to reinvent yourself, to explore uncharted territories. I can think over my career several times I have reinvented myself in new places and new opportunities. Sometimes those new steps stretched me. Sometimes those changes came with failure. But by reframing failure as a stepping stone, not as an end, I was able to extract information, and that became really invaluable along my journey. So I encourage you, embrace change. Embrace change in your own life and embrace the challenges that come with it, because they have the power to shape you into the person that you really want to be. I know you want to learn. I know you want to grow. I know you want to be better. So learn to embrace change. Celebrate it. Oh, this is exciting. And well, we know as believers that God works all things together for our good. So even though I'm like, I don't like this change, I know it's going to work out for my good. And so that helps me embrace it and step into it, because that is where you'll uncover your true potential and really create the life that you've always wanted and desired, that's fulfilling and meaningful. Biblically, you can see this truth in the life of Abraham. What's amazing is all this, you can find it in the Bible. When God called Abraham to leave his homeland, talk about change, go to this unknown land. He had to embrace this monumental change, leaving somewhere he had been. He had roots planted, and he stepped out. In Genesis, you can read about it in Genesis chapter 12. But the Lord told Abraham, go from your country and your people and your father's house to a land that I will show you, and I'll make you great when you get there, and I'll bless you, and I'll make your name great, and you'll be a blessing to others. And Abraham had to be willing to adapt to God's plan. And when he did, it brought unimaginable blessings. I know that's always brought me unimaginable blessings and opportunities, not just for myself, but for generations to come. And the same with Abraham. We're part of those generations that have been challenged or have been blessed because of his adaptability. His adaptability demonstrated courage, trust, and a real readiness to step into the unknown. You know, in our personal and professional lives, embracing change may mean taking on some new roles, maybe learning some new skills. Oh, I was trying to learn a new skill just the other day, and I'm like, do I really need to learn this new skill? But I did, and I'm still working on it. But when those changes come, sometimes you got to learn how to do some things, stepping outside of your comfort zone. I can't tell you how many times. And now, because I understand how important it is, I force myself out of the comfort zone. Used to, if I had to, if it came up. But now I look for ways to stretch myself, to get myself out of my comfort zone. And so instead of resisting change, I've learned to become very adaptable, because I found that the greats, those that have achieved greatness, whether it's on the business field or the battlefield or whatever field of life, they've learned to be adaptable. And so should we. Say, what can I learn from this change? How can this change make me better? Resistance to change is only going to create unnecessary friction, because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. So while adaptability positions us to be agents of transformation, resistance is just going to cause us to keep banging our head against the wall. Being adaptable is also not a one-time decision. You can't decide I'll be adaptable this time, but no more. No, you learn. You learn. It's gonna be a commitment to constant and never-ending improvement. Okay? So number one, learn to embrace change. And then I told you through those changes, what leads us to number two, stay teachable. There's so much you can learn in those times. It's the key, really, to long-term growth is to stay teachable. A teachable spirit is really foundational to being adaptable, to have an adaptability, because greatness isn't achieved by clinging on to the old methods or the outdated thinking, but by continuously learning and growing. Continually learn, constant and never-ending improvement. It's something that I've done for years. Constantly learning, constantly growing. If you want tomorrow to be different than today, learn something that will make tomorrow different. Okay? Netflix, great example of a company that didn't cling to its old methods, right? When it transformed from a DVD rental service to a leading streaming platform, which significantly increased its revenue and market share. But its initial business model was a company that allowed consumers to rent and buy physical DVDs. Did you used to get those in the mail? Couldn't wait for them to come. I'd send them back, wait for that next DVD to come. Send it back, wait for the next one. But as streaming services begin to rise, all of a sudden it faced challenges. Well, I don't have to wait. I can just watch it right here streaming. And it recognized, Netflix recognized that it needed the shift. It needed to change because consumers' behavior was changing and it was shifting. So it pivoted. It got rid of movies in the mail and went to a streaming platform, which led to significant growth. Don't be afraid to embrace change, because if not, you'll be a company like Kodak that failed to adapt and because of that, they faced major consequences. I mean, they once dominated. You remember when you were a little kid in the Kmart parking lot, there'd be that little booth, a little Kodak booth sitting there, and you go drop your film off and pick it up. And I mean, Kodak had they had the market on everything. They dominated film and camera industry, but they declined because some of you are saying, I never even heard of Kodak. They didn't embrace digital photography. And when they finally got around to it, they were so far behind. They were synonymous with photography, but a monopoly on film had a monopoly on films and cameras in the analog era. But when digital came along, they didn't embrace it. They resisted it. And then competitors like Sony, you probably heard of that, Canon, began to gain ground. And, it led to the bankruptcy of the company called Kodak. So whether it's in business or whether it's just in your personal life, you've got to recognize and respond to change. And you do that by continually living with a growth mindset out of every situation. What can I learn today? What can I do different next time? How can I reinvent myself? If you don't become a person that's constantly and never and always improving, if you don't become a person with a growth mindset, well, we got a lot of examples of people like and companies like Borders. Don't see any of those around. Circuit City, gone. How about MySpace? Hey, check me out on MySpace. Nope, not anymore. Did you ever have a Palm Pilot? You ever go to Radio Shack? Nokia phone? I mean, the list could go on and on and on. Be adaptable. Be adaptable. Adaptable people remain students of life. They remain open to feedback and eager to acquire new knowledge. Growth is not automatic. And Proverbs tells us, instruct the wise and they will be wiser still. Teach the righteous and they will add to their learning. Proverbs 1 verse 5 said, a wise person keeps learning. So how would you like to be doing better than you're doing in some area of your life right now? Yeah, I got my hand up. Of course, all of us would. And so to do that, you got to keep growing. Be teachable. Now it's going to require some humility, which I think is vital as well. It means, excuse me, it means acknowledging that we don't have all the answers. I went from being a know-it-all to being a learn-it-all. I'm not one of those people that thinks I know everything. I acknowledge I don't have a lot of answers, but I'm willing to seek out advice. I'm willing to get some mentorship. I'm willing to read and get education, because in leadership, it is especially vital. The most effective leaders are those who recognize the need to grow alongside their team, to adapt to new strategies, to meet new challenges. Again, we could go to the Apostle Paul. A learned Pharisee, right? But he adapted his approach to preaching the gospel based on who the audience was. He became adaptable. To the Jews, he spoke from their law. To the Greeks, he referenced their poets and philosophers. His adaptability allowed him to reach a diverse group of people and spread the gospel effectively. So in our lives, I was on a call today. I'm speaking for a corporation in Miami in just a few days, and I got on a call with their people today, and I said, okay, who's going to be in the room? I want to be adaptable. Is it leaders in the room? Is it workers in the room? Is it your A-level people? Is it what level? Where are we? I want to adapt to who's in the room. I'm adapting my message. I'm adapting what I do, and so I got to stay teachable. I can't say, well, no, I know how to do it. I'm the professional here. You'll just listen to what no, I'm gonna remain adaptable. It's a trait of the greats. It's one of the 12 traits of the greats. So stay teachable. It may mean you have to read more, quit watching so much Netflix, and you may have to go to some seminars, get off your Instagram, Facebook, and listen to some constructive criticism that'll help you get better. I challenge you to ask, ask yourself, what do I need to learn so that I can grow? What do I need to learn, or what do I need to unlearn? How about that question? What do I need to unlearn so that I can grow? Both those are really important. Adaptability requires the willingness to let go of ineffective habits and replace them with strategies that produce results. I'm going to talk to you next week about our next podcast about letting go, because there's some things you're going to need to let go of to take yourself to the next level. So make sure you subscribe so that you get notifications, so you know when the next podcast comes out. Make sure maybe we got your email. We'll email you the podcast to make sure that you get a hold of it. Maybe when you're on ordering the book, davemartin.org, we'll get your email there, because you don't want to miss the next podcast. But let me give you the last one here. Learn to lean. You want to be adaptable. Learn to lean on God's guidance during those times of uncertainty. That's the good thing about having a business partner like God, because he has a big plan, a bigger plan. He knows the plans before I even got here. He knew the plan. So adaptability is not solely a natural trait. I believe it's also a spiritual discipline. As a believer, as a Christ follower, we're called to trust in God and rely on his wisdom when we're navigating change. I believe that true adaptability is rooted in faith, as it allows us to step out in obedience even when things are unclear, when the future is unclear. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 gives us this guiding principle. Trust in God with all your heart. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't try to figure it out on your own. He said, but in all your ways, lean into him, submit to him, and then he'll direct you. He'll make your path straight. Joseph's life, another incredible, exemplifies this beautifully. Betrayed by his brothers. Yeah, can you believe that? Even your family sometimes will let you down. Sold into slavery. I mean, his brothers beat him up, put him in a pit, sold him as a slave. He's imprisoned unjustly. I mean, Joseph faced constant change and constant uncertainty, but he remained adaptable throughout the whole thing and trusted God in every season And his adaptability not only preserved his faith, but it also positioned him to become second in command in all of Egypt. And he saved countless lives during the famine. I'm telling you, when you remain humble and adaptable, I can think through my life of, like I said, through my career and different organizations and places that I worked. I'm like, my goodness, if I hadn't learned to be adaptable and learned to be teachable and learned to shut up sometimes, I would not be anywhere near where I am today. When faced with unexpected challenges, adaptability involves seeking God's guidance through prayer, through wise counsel, through the scripture. It means surrendering our plans to his greater purpose, because he does have a plan and a purpose, and then trusting that he is going to direct your steps. Adaptability is not about relying on my own strengths. But it's about aligning my strengths and aligning with God's plan, and then taking that step of faith forward, that he is going to be there, that he's going to lead me and guide me. So let me wrap this up with some practical steps to help you build adaptability, build that trait of adaptability in your life. Let me show you. Let me just give you these: change or be changed. To change or not to change. That is sounds like Shakespeare, doesn't it? But let me give you these practical steps. Number one, develop a growth mindset. Cultivate a mindset that sees challenges as opportunities. And so every day reflect on how you can change, how change could make you better. Okay? The second one, learn to pivot quickly. Learn to pivot quickly. Being willing to adjust your plans without losing sight of your goals. Flexibility in execution is key to staying relevant. Then number three, strengthen your faith. Spend time in prayer and reinforce your trust in God's plan, especially during those seasons of uncertainty. And then number four, surround yourself with other adaptable people. Because if you surround yourself with other adaptable people, they're probably growth-minded people. And you get around growth-minded people, it's going to help you grow. Build relationships with others that have learned how to embrace change, and because they'll also inspire you to do the same thing. Number five, I like this, and we're going to get into this next podcast. Practice letting go. Let it go. Let it go. I'm not holding back anymore. It's my favorite Disney movie. Anna and Elsa all right. Identify areas where clinging to the past is holding you back, and commit to moving forward with new strategies. It's a trait of greatness. It is the adaptability, the ability to be adaptable, the ability to embrace change, remain teachable, trust God through all of life's circumstances, through all the challenges and the changes. I mean, Abraham, Paul, Joseph, they're all called to step out in faith and adapt to opportunities and challenges that God put in front of them. So look at those challenges as a God opportunity to get better. As you navigate the ever-changing seasons of life, you got to ask yourself, am I resisting change or am I embracing it? Am I learning from it and growing from it? Am I trusting God through those unknown steps and seasons? When we commit to being adaptable, we position ourselves to not only survive, to thrive. Hey, in 2025, I want to thrive in 25. I didn't hear anybody say, let's survive through 25. Well, actually, I did hear someone say that the other day, and I think they moved to Ireland. But survive, no, we're going to thrive in 25. But by leaning into God's wisdom and cultivating a mindset of growth, we can overcome any obstacle and fulfill the greatness, because greatness is in you. God created you in his image, and what a great God we serve. So greatness is in you, whether it's to be a great business person, a great leader, a great salesperson, a great mom, a great dad, a great husband, whatever it is, God wants you to be great. Adaptability is the willingness to adjust. And those who adjust will always rise to the top. And that's where the greats are. So, hey, let's rise. Let's rise together. Let's adapt with courage, with humility, and with faith, and see the difference that it makes. Hey, thank you for joining me today right here on the Dave Martin Show. Again, I know I mentioned this book several times, but I'm telling you, if you don't have it, it's one of those staples that you need in your library, because you'll go back to it over and over and over again. 12 Traits of Uncommon Achievers. And I'm telling you, it's available on the website. Make sure you grab your copy today. You can also get the audiobook. It's available as well. But I'd love to hear kind of what jumped out at you today. Take a moment, go in that comment section. Let me hear from you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and do me a favor. Would you share this with somebody? Maybe someone that you know is in a time of change, which we all are or will be at some point. So share this. Put it up on your Facebook. Put it on your Instagram. Put it on. Send it in an email. I don't know how you'll want to do it, but get it out there and let other people hear how adaptability can be a trait or a key to real greatness in their life. I'll see you next time right here.